my morning meanderings. I want to start off with a garden I have right here. We have a lot of gardening going on over here at our house. It's pretty vast and expansive, but I just want to start with this one section because this was completely covered in forsythia last year. And this past spring, we completely dug it all out. Larry came with our backhoe and dug up big root balls, and the rest of us just dug up all the other forsythia that was here until it was a clean slate. It was just dirt and rocks. And I have to admit, I've been gardening for, I don't know, maybe close to 28 years. And I said to myself, what have you done? Oh my gosh, this is a lot of real estate to have to fill in. And I don't know, I was just like, what were you thinking? Why did you pull out all those bushes? But they were unsightly, and you know, forsythia is cool in the spring, but then it's just kind of just a gangly bush that I don't know, I got tired of it. So I regrouped, gave myself a pep talk and said, Martha, you got this, you can do this. You did it before, you can do it again. And I decided I would just start out slow. I was going to take plants from other parts of my garden. I love to go shopping in my own garden and on my own property. And I just find little nuggets and little fun things, and lungwort here and there, and lamb's ear growing here and there, and I just transplant it all. It's a very budget-friendly way to start gardening. I have a lot of rocks that came out of this garden, so my daughter and I decided to make it a rock garden. And we kind of made sort of a serpentine pattern over here going down the hill. And I found these really cool tiles on Marketplace just as a contrast to the stone. I wanted a little bling to, I don't know, just perk it up and make it a little visually stimulating. I'm all about art in the garden. So that was fun. So we nestled in some plants in and around the, like, you know, creeping thyme and some sedum and some stone crop. And hopefully they'll spread over the rocks and be even more interesting. You probably noticed these stacks sticking up. These are actually clay pipes, see, that I found on the property. And I thought they were really cool, and I've been saving them thinking someday I'm going to use these, and this was the day. I stuck them in the ground and I made them into planters. Our house was built in 1936. It's a passive solar flat roofed house, and these were on the property from back then. I think they're really cool. This one has a wire vine in it that just keeps blooming and blooming and blooming. And it tends to be invasive, so I felt like putting it in a planter was a good idea anyway. We have some creeping jenny back there, and I tucked in some lungwort. I love this plant. Love the spotted leaves, and in the spring it has a beautiful purple flower. I also winter sowed some red salvia, which is just doing so well. I love them. And I put them in a milk jug all winter outside. And they grew to be little plants, and I put them in the ground and they're thriving. Hopefully they will self-sow in the spring next year. You know, the seeds will fall this fall, and in the spring hopefully I'll have some new salvia plants growing on their own, so I don't have to winter sow them. Over here I have a lemon colored spirea with pretty pink flowers from our own nursery. And here we have some yarrow that was from my daughter Megan's garden that she gave me. Another one of my favorite things is to have plants from my friends and family members that just, I don't know, kind of warm my heart when I see them, and I feel like a piece of them is with me in my garden. Here is a sad story. I have a yellow coneflower, and the bunnies mowed it down twice, and it hasn't bloomed. It's August. I planted it in the spring. Nada. So not thrilled about that, but it's one of those things I'm gonna say I'll see you next spring, and hopefully you'll bloom then. We also have a pink elephant plant here, and I don't know, this is my first time with this plant. I'm not that crazy about it. It's kind of weird. It kind of like has this funny flower head on it. So I don't know, you know, it's trial and error, right? Gardening is all about putting something in, seeing if you like it. If you don't, you move it or you give it to a friend. I also planted some lavender all down this path here. And again, I said, see you in the spring, because I knew it wouldn't bloom. They were teeny tiny plants. I knew they wouldn't bloom. But in the spring, next year, when they're just gonna be like billowing over this wall with purple profusions, I can't wait for that. So it gives me something to look forward to. Again, gardening is all about patience and being adaptable. Look at these cleome, or spider plant, whatever you want to call them. They are outstanding. They're so pretty. This was supposed to be my cut flower area, so I was fine with everything getting super tall. But I made a little error. They're huge, and I didn't realize they were going to be huge, so they're dwarfing my cosmos over here. So really the cosmos should go in the front and these should have gone in the back, but I didn't do that. So next year I'm going to readjust and hopefully it will all work out. We have a great blue lobelia here that's about to bloom. This got mowed down by bunnies also. I don't know if you're having trouble with bunnies this year, but there's something awful at my house. There's tons of them and they're eating everything. And I never had this problem before, so I don't really know what's going on. But hopefully this guy, you know, comes back to life. And over here, in the cosmos, I have a fun purchase I made. This one also got mowed down by bunnies twice. And this, you know, hasn't bloomed yet. Gotta be patient on that one too. So I covered it with a cloche. It's basically just a wire cage, but it's gold and it's really cute. And I got it for a steal at the end of the season. I just got it recently. It was $92 or $96, which was probably worth it, but wasn't in, you know, my budget. And I just picked it up for 30 bucks. Super psyched. I dragged that thing around that garden center with me everywhere so nobody else would take it because there was only one. And now it's cute. I'll show you my original solution, which was this tomato cage. Not cute, but functional. I just turned it upside down, cinched the top together, and put some chicken wire in it to keep the bunnies out, and it worked. So I was really happy about that, but hey, everybody, wouldn't you say cute is better? I would. I'm really liking that cage. Okay, we'll come back here. I have some celosia that I winter sowed that's, you know, not doing great. And I have some bells of Ireland that have not grown. They're not growing. I don't know why some things work, some things don't. It's one of those garden mysteries. You just have to be patient. Patient, patient, patient. Up here I have a Roseanne cranesbill geranium. Now this is bred not to have seeds, so they put all of their effort into producing flowers. And they bloom from spring to frost. They are a workhorse in the garden. I absolutely recommend them and love them. I have them in several places because they just bloom and bloom and bloom. Another one is these blanket flowers. They will bloom spring to frost, just constantly cranking out flowers. And these were in other areas of the garden and I just moved them. I moved them here to fill in some space. I have ferns everywhere. I adore ferns. They are my happy plant. I just love them. And I actually get them from my own property behind our pond. Slowly turn around so I don't make anybody car sick. Back there are thousands of ferns. It must be the perfect environment. So I just go back there, I dig them up, and I replant them. And they do so well. They do so well. And they're so happy. Over here I have a miniature balloon flower, which blooms and blooms, love that. And a miniature monarda, which, why aren't you blooming, bee balm? Bloom already. It's also developing a powdery mildew. Whoops, well, now you can see it. Powdery mildew, I'm gonna have to neem oil that to take care of it. Oh, they're just popping off. Well, hopefully in the spring, you'll come back to life. The catmint over here that always is a, you know, total winner. Some more cranesbill geraniums. I just like their leaf shape. So I'm fine when they're not blooming. They still look good to me. I have a broom bush over here that'll look fantastic in the fall with bright red foliage. And I have the cutest little mouse ear hostas. They are just adorable and I love them. I love hostas. It's one of my favorite plants. It's also a workhorse. I have some lamb's ear, another workhorse. I love them, and great pollinators. The bees just love the lamb's ear. I have a cute little, what do you call that? Oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank. That is a bird bath. Oh my gosh, I couldn't get bird feeder out of my head. I'm like, it's not a feeder, it's definitely a bath. Over here we have some ginger, wild ginger that's not doing terribly well. I don't know why. Maybe it's getting too much sun, which is my thought, and I might have to transplant it. But again, right, isn't that what we do? If something's not working, you move it around until you find the right place for it. I have some columbine that I winter sowed that I'm going to have to say, see you next spring, because that's as big as you've gotten, but I'm sure you're going to pull it out in the spring and it's going to be beautiful. And I have a little garden art, which I love. I love gardening, I love art, I love design, and I thought this was just kind of fun. It's just some tomato stakes, and I found some blue and green bottles and popped them in there, but it's subtle. I kind of like things to reveal themselves slowly, so you glance up and you look into the trees and you're like, oh, there's some blue and some green in the tree, and I just think that's fun. I also like this area to be kind of a negative space garden where you can see the dirt, you can see the rocks. So just about everything I've planted will not get tall in this upper area. Down there, like I said, that's my cut garden section. But up here, everything will be low, and hopefully you can always see the rocks and get a sense of the design. Well, that's it for this area. I'm glad you joined me for this morning meandering. And, tomorrow's a new day. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.